perhaps at a time when the country is at a crossroad, politically, economically, and otherwise. And bringing such a large delegation from Japan, and Japanese friends are here. I welcome all our friends from Japan. Arigatou gozaimasu. I don't know whether I have pronounced it right or not, but that's the best I can do. You have heard so much from the previous speakers about the capital market and future of capital market in Bangladesh, and how investors should find Bangladesh in the future economic perspective. One thing I can assure you right now, in Bangladesh, not just the politicians, people across the board, the uppermost on their mind is the economy of the country. And Bangladesh economy is not going to be a beginning. We have had a fairly good beginning post-liberation, 1972, 73, 74 onward particularly. The country transformed from command economy to market economy, one-party system to multi-party democracy. A lot of political reforms and economic reforms that saw Bangladesh over the years, as some previous speakers mentioned, 6% growth rate on average. And Japanese have had a footprint, very strong footprint in Bangladesh. So they are not coming here for the first time. They are well invested in Bangladesh, starting from the large industries to infrastructure. And Japan has been the largest bilateral donor for Bangladesh. I think still is. So when we left the government last, the growth rate was 7.06%. And the curve was looking like this, upward. Of course, it was disrupted over the last decade and a half. And then the mass uprising. But the economy, resilience, is so good. Bangladesh withstood all this and still carrying on after so many upheavals, turbulences, recovery, turn around very fast. The reason is one. The reason is Bangladesh's economic foundation is very strong. Because we have been able to make some reforms bearing in mind the market to operate freely. And that brought in a lot of private sector investment from within and from outside. Bangladesh is the first country in this whole of South Asia to set up economic zones, export processing zones. Bangladesh is the first in South Asia to go for free market economy and private sector-led growth. So the emphasis was on the private sector. And they are the only ones who can drive the economy. This was the fate in economic planners of Bangladesh. and that has paid dividend. And private sector came up in large numbers. Example is Bangladesh ready-made garments, textiles, leather sector, seafood sector, and many others. And the policy of the reform policies of deregulating also paid dividend. Through that, Bangladesh economy not had done fairly well, fared quite well, but the social sector has done very well. Bangladesh's social indicator is about the best in South Asia today. I repeat, Bangladesh's social indicators are the best in South Asia. Because it reflects that how the economy also had taken care of people in general. Poverty alleviation, women's empowerment, and all the rest of it have done very, very well in Bangladesh. And this is why the foundation of this economy is so strong and withstood all this turbulence that Bangladesh has gone through. So that gives us the confidence that with a new government, democratic order back in the country, everybody's on their uppermost on their mind how the economy is going to do. Believe me, we are all focused on economy right now. And for economy, capital market is inevitable. I agree, the capital market should have done a lot better as much as the economy had done in the past. That has not been fully achieved. So the gap the capital market could have fulfilled supporting the economy has not happened as much as it was expected. As a result, there was heavy borrowing from the high street banks. And that's a mismatch. Clearly, the high street banks' deposits are basically mostly on short-term basis. And capital market lending is short-term, long-term basis. So there's a huge mismatch of financial order, and that cost us dearly in our financial sector. So the now focus, because it's very relevant to today's discussion, now the focus is on our capital market. Where do we go from here? And this huge gap of financing, where does the capital market come in? And this is a very interesting scenario. This is where we all come into the new playbook for our economic development. Unless we develop capital market, we really cannot come out of this financial issues that we have had recently. Of course, that happened through an economy of patronization, oligarchy and all that. That didn't help. Now, we have to address very seriously how we go ahead with our capital market. And I'm so glad that our friends have come at a time when we are planning big. I think our friend from Japan mentioned that Bangladesh needed turbochargers, you know. I can assure you, I think turbocharger is going to be in place in Bangladesh. It is going to be in place. And we are fully committed, going forward, how to address the issues of capital market. Because we didn't have enough blue chips companies coming into the market. We didn't have institutional investors coming in the way that they should have done. We did have a lot of retail investors, of course. And of course, all the frontier funds and the emerging funds was coming, but somehow wasn't enough to build up the depth of the capital market. Unfortunately, as I said, the GDP market cap ratio, we are one of the lowest, unfortunately. Although this is surprising how the economy has done well, 6% growth rate, 7%, 7.06 billion of the government, that did not reflect in the capital market. And that should have happened, quite honestly. Now this is the time that we are addressing it. We need to create the depth in the market. We need good companies to come into the market. We need institutional investors, retail investors, of course.